And as he sat upon the Mount of Olives, the disciples came unto him privately, saying, Tell us, when shall these things be? What shall be the sign of thy coming and of the end of the world? And Jesus answered and said unto them, Take heed that no man deceive you. For many shall come in my name, saying, I am Christ, and shall deceive many.
David Shaler says he is the true Lord of Lords, but unlike Vissarion, no one believes him.
That doesn't bother me because I was chosen by God.
The former British intelligence agent says his body was filled with the Spirit of Jesus in 2007.
The official coming of the Son of God was in April 13, 2005.
He was an obscure evangelist from the rural Philippines until 2005, when he announced that God had appointed him Christ on earth. His reward for a pure life. Sinful thoughts, anger, lust, any of those things. You don't experience those on a daily basis?
As a human being?
Yes.
I have already overcome all of those.
Preacher, an evangelist to be sure, but to his followers and in his own eyes, he's more than a man of God. Just ask him.
I'm Jesus Christ, man, in front of you. When Jesus, the resurrected Jesus, came to me, he integrated himself.
The Son of Man is back! Also embrace his unique interpretation of the Bible. For example, sin no longer exists. There's also no such thing as the devil.
Satan is a Hollywood character.
As for prayer, he says it's a waste of time, and he calls all other religious leaders liars.
The lies began in Rome. I'm against all those teachings.
Vissarion's real name is Sergei Torup. In the 80s, he was a traffic warden in Minusинsk before announcing himself as the second coming of Jesus in 1990, right after the fall of communism in Russia. It's estimated that Vissarion has over 10,000 followers worldwide.
Jesus Christ is returned, but only this time in Brazil. For more than 30 years, this man, calling himself Henri Cristo, has preached his own gospel as a supposed reincarnation of Jesus of Nazareth, relocated to Brasilia.
The man who claims he is Jesus Christ. Only his name is Moses Hlongwane. But he says, like his namesake, he has spent years in the wilderness and has been resurrected as the Son of God.
No, I will never die, as God gave me as a command.
Hlongwane's beliefs are already attracting a following.
Well, welcome along. I'm Jesus, this is Mary. And so what we want to do today is talk about
all of the events of my crucifixion. I understood what was going on. I understood the reason for my death.
And he's collecting disciples. Miller has convinced them that they were with him at his crucifixion.
Just went to get the spike and smash it into his hands, and just so much love that came from him, so I couldn't do it.
You will find that the real Jesus is a very logical, down-to-earth, scientifically based man of principle, living in harmony with truth and love. That happens to be myself, and any other person who claims to be me, you will find generally has a flaw in one of those areas. And my suggestion is to examine that and determine for yourself who is the real Jesus.
Abraham, David, Jesus of Nazareth, and me.
So who are you?
I'm Jesus Christ, man.
So
the second coming of Christ.
You God or?
Gregory, actually. No, Gregory. It's the second coming of Christ, Gregory. It's a Jesus Christ, it's Gregory Christ. It's just the new Christ.
So
Christ.
You believe you're a Christ?
Christ, but God at the same time.
Hello everyone, I am Lord Omega Christ, the risen Nazarene, he who has come to set the meek free, to establish the righteous and holy kingdom of heaven here on earth.
Meet the Messiah of Siberia. He is known to his followers as Vissarion, and he claims to be the reincarnation of Jesus Christ.
And you shall hear of wars and rumors of wars.
Cruise missiles launched from a French warship last night. France said 12 were fired and there was no indication they'd been intercepted.
my fellow Americans. A short time ago, I ordered the United States Armed Forces to launch precision strikes on targets associated with the chemical weapons capabilities of Syrian dictator Bashar al-Assad.
President Trump ordering strikes on Syria.
American, British, and French warships and planes launching dozens of missiles targeting the Syrian regimes.
أبشروا يا عباد الله أبشروا وأبشروا خيرا يا من خرجتم لجهاد أعداء الله الله أكبر
الله أكبر الله أكبر دارية الله أكبر القصف البراميل المتفجر الله أكبر.
See that ye be not troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. For nation shall rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom.
الله أكبر.
Those are British Tornado fighter jets. They are taking off as we speak. That's a live feed that we are getting from that base. But as we just reported, the B-1 bombers, the U.S. Air Force B-1 bombers, those are supersonic bombers that fly from a base in Qatar. They were involved in the airstrikes tonight over Syria. They likely would have been escorted by F-22 fighter jets because I misspoke earlier. The B-1 is not stealth, and so they would have had to have been escorted. The F-22 would have been the most likely escort in case they were challenged by any Syrian or Russian aircraft. But those B-1 bombers are interesting because they can fire standoff missiles from up to 600 miles away. They're known as JASSM missiles. They are anywhere from 200 to 600 miles out. Those standoff missiles can strike a target. So those B-1s are extremely lethal.
The Russian military forces in Syria are nominally protected by an S-400 air defense system as well as S-300 based on Russian naval vessels in the Eastern Mediterranean and a variety of lower-level point defense and medium-range systems. So what that essentially means is that the Russians have the capacity to shoot down at least some of the missiles launched in any US cruise missile attack. It's notable that last year, when the US hit Sherut Air Base with 59 Tomahawks, Russian defenses did not fire. There are several possible reasons for this, which have a bearing on today. First of all, typical practice would be for the Russians to fire two interceptors at every incoming cruise missile, which could very quickly deplete the number of very expensive, very large surface-to-air missiles that they have in Syria. It's also perfectly possible for the US to swamp Russian defenses. So if Russia makes the call to start firing at incoming US missiles, they may well run out of missiles before the US does, which would then potentially leave them exposed.
And there shall be famines and pestilences.
U.S. scientists warn Zika virus could become an explosive pandemic. This, as the World Health Organization estimates there could be up to 4 million cases of Zika in the Americas over the next year.
The president is now calling for swift action against the Zika virus. It's been linked to cases of brain damage in newborn babies.
President Obama has emphasized the need to develop a vaccine for the spreading mosquito-borne virus. Travel advisories have also put increasing pressure on tourism operators in the Latin American countries.
Arizona health officials are warning about the return of the bubonic plague after fleas in 2 areas tested positive for Yersinia pestis. That's the same bacteria that caused the infectious disease that killed millions of people in Europe in the 1300s during the Black Death.
A flesh-eating ulcer is spreading quickly through parts of Australia. Local cases of a skin disease known as Buruli ulcer have reportedly increased by 400% in the last 4 years in the state of Victoria.
Sounding the alarm about nightmare superbugs in our hospitals, now in 42 states, highly contagious, deadly, and drug-resistant.
A recent Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo has claimed the lives of 26 people. The disease recently spread from rural areas into the northwest city of Mbandaka.
A plague of locusts which has already destroyed half of the island's crops.
Ça peut créer énormément de dégâts
They can create a lot of damage. They eat the pastures and then also the rice and the corn, which is about to be harvested.
According to experts, there are currently 100 swarms across Madagascar, made up of about 500 billion locusts. And they get through around 100,000 tons of vegetation every single day.
We turn this evening to the urgent warning now that 4 countries are on the brink of famine. 20 million people, families and children. 70% of the livestock, the farm animals, have died.
There shall be famines and pestilences and earthquakes in divers places.
Powerful 7.5 earthquake that's just hit near the border of Afghanistan and Pakistan.
Strong tremors. In the meantime, with coverage of this huge earthquake that hit New Zealand, 7.5 in magnitude.
Millions of Americans on high alert at this moment under tsunami warnings at this hour after a powerful 7.9 earthquake rocked Alaska, as you can see, to the south and to the east of Kodiak, Alaska.
We have some more breaking news out of Mexico. A magnitude 8 earthquake, which I should tell you is just coming into some more information that USGS has just upgraded it from magnitude 8. Those words just out of my mouth. It is now 8.1 according to the USGS. That has been recorded off the southern coast near the Guatemalan border. The tremor.
1,565 people killed, tens of thousands homeless, and many more still unaccounted for tonight after the worst disaster Nepal has seen in nearly a century. The earthquake struck before noon local time in the capital city of Kathmandu. The impact wiped away history in a matter of minutes.
7.8 magnitude quake, which hit just after midnight, blowing out windows, knocking items from shelves, and triggering a tsunami warning. Here's ABC's Jennifer Eggleston on the moment this massive quake struck.
Cell phone video capturing the terrifying 7.8 magnitude earthquake. The massive tremor striking just after midnight on New Zealand's South Island, killing
tsunami waves 6.5 feet high reported off the coast of Chile following an 8.2 magnitude earthquake. Chile's National Emergency Office tweeted tonight that it's asking for everyone to evacuate the South American nation's coast.
The story we're following this morning is what's happening in Italy. The death toll rising overnight from a powerful earthquake. It measured 6.2. It struck in the mountains of central Italy. At least 38 people now dead. Let's go live.
2 people have been killed and more than 200 injured after a 6.4 magnitude earthquake hit Taiwan. The quake.
Tsunami warning has been issued in parts of Alaska after a massive 8.2 earthquake rumbled through Kodiak, Alaska, just about a half hour ago. I want to take
the country was jolted awake by the 7.5 magnitude earthquake, which struck near Hamner Springs just after midnight.
Powerful earthquake hitting the Philippines in the middle of the night. There are deaths and injuries and frantic rescue efforts happening as we speak. And ABC's
earthquake that has rocked central Mexico, a 7.1 magnitude quake that has caused some buildings to collapse in and around Mexico City. The quake itself centered about 75 miles southeast of Mexico City.
All these are the beginning of sorrows. Then shall they deliver you up to be afflicted, and shall kill you, and ye shall be hated of all nations for my name's sake. And then shall many be offended, and shall betray one another, and shall hate one another. And many false prophets shall rise, and shall deceive many. And because iniquity shall abound, the love of many shall wax cold. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. And this gospel of the kingdom shall be preached in all the world for a witness unto all nations, and then shall the end come.